Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Monique Renee and today I'm going to be talking about my experience with the Make-A-Wish Foundation. So before I get into all that, let me just talk about the piece I'm doing right here for a minute. I am doing a mixture of traditional and digital painting. I started off doing the sketch in Procreate with the iPad Pro, then I colored it in watercolor. I used my Schmincke watercolor and also some color pencils, and then I took it into the iPad Pro again and I added some details and final touches with Procreate. So let's get right into it. This is going to be a long story, so feel free to buckle down, grab some snacks, and grab a sketchbook, and yeah, let's just jump right into it. So those of you who watch my channel for a while may know that I have a disease called cystic fibrosis. My brother and I actually both have it, and something I don't really talk about on this channel much is it's actually considered a terminal illness, and it does qualify for kids with CF to get wishes from the Make-A-Wish Foundation. So it's actually kind of funny how it happened. I was in the hospital for a bad infection that wasn't going away. I was about 15 years old, and at this point in my life, I'm 22 now, hospital stays are pretty regular, but when I was 15, my disease was just starting to progress to that point, and I wasn't used to going to the hospital yet, and I was kind of struggling with it. And I think my doctor knew how much I was struggling because he offered to talk to the Make-A-Wish Foundation on my behalf. And at first, I was actually vehemently against getting a wish. I was like, I'm not sick enough. I don't deserve a wish. I save the wish for a kid who actually needs it or who actually deserves it. Because at that time, I thought that I wasn't quote-unquote sick enough. I thought that I didn't deserve a wish and that it would be wasted on me or something. And if there's anything that you guys get from this video, if you're watching this because you are wanting information about the Make-A-Wish Foundation or because you yourself are chronically ill, don't let yourself talk you into that kind of thinking, because it's so not true. If you have the opportunity to get a wish, it's because you do deserve it and you obviously qualify, and you shouldn't talk yourself out of a great opportunity like that. And that's basically what my mom told me, told my 15-year-old self. She was kind of like, are you stupid? Why aren't you gonna take advantage of this amazing opportunity that you have? You are sick. You're in the hospital. Obviously you're sick. And she didn't say it like that. I'm making it sound like she was really mean, but she was really sweet and really nice about it. But she just opened my eyes. I am in the hospital. I am sick. It's not worth it to try to tell myself that I'm not sick or that I don't deserve it. If someone's going to offer this amazing opportunity to me, why not take it? So we went back to my doctor and I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. I'll talk to the people. We'll see where it goes. And that's what got the ball started. The way the Make-A-Wish Foundation works is that they send a few volunteers out to kind of talk to you and see what kind of things that you want. So that's what happened. I had two lovely volunteers come talk to me at my house. One of the volunteers actually became a really good friend, and I'm going to talk about this later in the video, but she actually opened a lot of doors for me, which was just an added benefit. But I just want to come across and just tell you guys, these people are absolute angels. They do this in their spare time because they like it. They volunteer. They enjoy making kids happy. They are just honestly angels that walk among the earth, and they are just lovely, lovely people. But they sat me down and they just kind of got to know me. They wanted to ask me some questions. They asked me if I could go anywhere in the world, where would I want to go? If I could do anything, what would I want to do? If I could meet anyone, who would I want to meet? Stuff like that, until we kind of got an idea of what I wanted for my wish. And honestly, the possibilities were pretty endless. They will do whatever they can do in their power to make these wishes come true. And it's honestly kind of life-changing for some people. It was one of the best experiences of my entire life, and I will carry the memories of it with me just forever. But anyway, I'm losing track of myself here because I'm just like following down this road of nostalgia. Anyway, so we narrowed it down, and basically I decided that I wanted to go to Disney World and I wanted to talk to some of the animators there. A little side note, I didn't know this at the time, but there actually aren't any animators in the Florida Disney World. All the animators are in California. But they told me, okay, we'll send you and your family to Disney World. We'll hook you up with an animator. We'll get this going. And I was like, okay, sweet. And that's exactly what they did. They booked me and my family a flight for an entire week to Florida. And not only did they send me to Disney World, they sent me to every single park in Orlando. So they got us tickets to every park in Disney World, the water parks. We got to go to the Universal Studio parks. We could have gone to SeaWorld. We could have gone to, the Busch Gardens. Basically, any theme park that was there, we had access to. They were like, whatever you want to do, just go do it. And I wasn't expecting that. That was like really above and beyond what I thought that they would do. And it was honestly a little overwhelming. But anyway, so we got on a flight to Florida, flew out to Florida. They actually had us stay in a hotel that they have connections with called Give Kids the World. And this place is like a little theme park in itself. It was definitely geared more for younger kids, but I appreciated it anyway because I'm honestly like a gigantic kid anyway. Even at 15, I was like, this is so cool. But they have like theme nights, they have like breakfast for dinner, they have a 24-hour ice cream bar, and they had like activities going on and parades, and it was just such like a wholesome thing. But basically what it is a hotel for purely Make-A-Wish and other foundations like it, so that the kids can stay there, and it's close to the parks. They give out rental cars, and basically it just takes care of everything. Free meals all the time. You don't have to worry about it. And that was also really awesome because we could just, get up and go, or we could maybe take more time. If I was not feeling great a certain day, we could kind of take our time more and not have to worry about like missing a continental breakfast or like going out to eat for lunch or something. Everything was just right there for us. And it was honestly lovely. Like the grounds were really cute. They had mushroom shaped houses or hotel rooms, I guess, like in the shape of mushrooms. It was so adorable. But anyway, that's where we stayed, and it was just lovely. So now the actual vacation begins, and like I said, they just went above and beyond. We got to not only go to Walt Disney World, but every single theme park in Orlando. We got to go to all of the parks in Disney, all the water parks. We even got to go to Universal Studios and SeaWorld and Busch Gardens. We actually didn't have time for all of those, but the opportunity was there for us. It was there. We could do anything that we wanted to do. So, like I mentioned before, my wish was to go to Disney World and talk to an animator. The funny thing is, there are no animators in Florida anymore. There used to be an animation studios there, but it is now a museum, and now all of the animation is done in their California studio. So what they did instead, which is still very amazing and so cool and so inspiring, the museum that's there, it's full of like concept art and visual development and like things from very, very early animation, like rotoscoping and screen toning and all of this cool stuff that I had no idea about. They had like actual artifacts. I call them artifacts, but just actual supplies and examples there from the actual Disney movies. So what they did was I had a tour guide who took me around the whole museum before anyone else could go in. We got there really early. We got early access to the park, and she just took me through the museum and gave me a personalized tour of everything. And I didn't have to like fight with anyone to see anything, or like push my way around, or like have to like look over anyone's heads. I just went there and was just overwhelmed by all of this cool knowledge and just all this really amazing stuff. And one of the coolest things ever happen to me, if you know Disney animation well, you may know of the 9 old men, who were the 9 original animators of Walt Disney Studios, and they have these cement handprints in the museum, and I got to walk over and put my own hands inside their handprints, and I will always remember that moment as a very defining point in my artistic career, because I remember thinking to myself, these hands have made amazing movies, and these hands have done what I want to do, so my hands are capable of doing the same thing. And even though I no longer want to be an animator for Disney, I still remember that feeling of just inspiration and motivation and just awe, and I try to carry that with me all the time because I was just so overwhelmed with that feeling, and it was just honestly amazing. I also got to sit down with a tour guide and talk about art things and like art colleges. She gave me a lot of really useful books and documentaries to watch about animation, and I went home and of course like devoured them immediately. But it was really cool to talk to someone about animation and art in Disney who understood it and wasn't just like, oh yeah, that'd be cool. She actually like talked to me and gave me advice, and that was really, really useful. So that was one of the coolest parts of the trip, but another thing that they really went above and beyond with, they gave me this little pass that said I was with the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and all I had to do was show that pass, and I got to the front of the line on any ride. I got to skip any line for any event. I got just the most amazing treatment because I was with the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And that, it sounds kind of silly, but honestly, having that pass really, really, really made the trip just so much better, because I don't know if you guys have been to Florida in the middle of summer, but it's very hot and it's very humid, and I had to be wheeled out of the theme parks multiple nights because my body just could not take any more. So if I had to stand in those lines for half hour to hours at a time, my body would have given out way, way, way sooner than it did. So having that front of the line passes meant I could do anything I wanted to do without having to worry about like literally collapsing. And that was amazing. Like there was no ride that I missed out on. There was no parade I didn't get to see, no show I didn't get to see. I just got to do anything I wanted to do, I got to do because of the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And I'm getting a little emotional, but it kind of was life-changing, because throughout my whole life, me, my mom, and my brother, we have kind of been dealing with the fact that we're sick. My stepdad too, he came a little bit later, but him too. But we've just always been kind of having this cloud over our heads, and no matter how many times we've tried to tell ourselves, you know, we're not that sick, or I don't know, we're just normal like everyone else, the truth is that we're not. And there are so many things that we both have had to miss out on in our lives because of being sick. I've missed out on field trips and birthdays. I missed senior prom because I was in the hospital. And having this trip was honestly life-changing, because for like once in my life, I was not held back because I was sick. If anything, I was given special treatment because I was sick. And it's the first time in my life that I've had that. It's the first time in my life that I was able to do anything I wanted without having to worry about being sick. And it was honestly kind of life-changing. I've never felt so free from my illness or so empowered, because I don't even know how to explain the feeling that I had. I was not held back because I was sick. I didn't have to worry about standing in lines and being dizzy and passing out. I didn't have to worry about standing up for too long and getting winded. I didn't have to worry about trekking all the way across the park and missing an event. I didn't have to worry about any of that because I was here from the Make-A-Wish Foundation, because I had this special pass. I got to do whatever I wanted to do, and never in my life have I ever been able to do that. And it was honestly life-changing. I felt so empowered, and just, I don't even know. I can't even say I felt like a normal kid, because I didn't. I felt better. I felt almost validated for all the things I've missed out on. This trip all pretty much made up for all of those times I've had to say no because I'm too sick. This trip, I got to say yes because I am sick. And I don't know if anyone else can understand that unless you are sick. How incredibly freeing that feeling is, being able to say, I'm not like anyone else here. I am not normal. I am not healthy. But that's okay. I'm here and I'm having fun and I'm living life and I'm doing it all even with being sick. And I don't know. I can't express how much that feeling means to me and my family, and just how thankful I am to be able to have that experience and kind of come to that realization. It was honestly just amazing. And I kind of went off on a tangent here, but that I think is the biggest thing I got from this trip, was that feeling. So, like I said, we got to go to all the theme parks in Disney. That was amazing. We got to go to like Epcot, which was so cool. I loved seeing like all the different pavilions around the world, and we got to eat like so much food. I unfortunately did not have a stomach to eat from every little food stall, but I wanted to. But anyway, we got to go to the Animal Kingdom, the Hollywood Studios, the Magic Kingdom, and like I said, we also got to go to the Orlando Universal Studios, and this was right when the Harry Potter theme park just opened, and my family and I are also obsessed with Harry Potter, so we got to see that, which was incredible. We got to go to like all of the other little parks in there. I remember they had a superhero park, which is really cool, and we got to do all of the roller coasters. Unfortunately, I was limited to maybe 1 or 2 roller coasters a day, because any more than that, and my body would be just hating me, and I would get really dizzy and pass out. But the ones I did go on were super, super fun, and it's kind of a shame because I love, love, love roller coasters. But anyway, I'm getting off on another tangent. So yeah, that was basically my Make-A-Wish package all in one. We got to go to all the parks, we got to eat whatever we wanted to eat, and we just didn't have to worry about anything. Everything was taken care of, and all we had to do was just have fun. Like, that was our main objective, was have fun. Oh, and take lots of pictures for the Make-A-Wish Foundation as well, because they love seeing pictures, and my mom of course took like thousands of pictures. But yeah, it was so much fun. I remember just having a blast. Like, it's kind of a blur now because it's been quite a few years. But I just remember having so much fun and just being able to do whatever I wanted to, and that was awesome. So that's the end of my Make-A-Wish, the wish that I got. But my Make-A-Wish story does not end there. So one of the volunteers, we will call her Mary. I honestly, if angels exist, then this woman is an angel who walks among humans. She was just, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. So this volunteer knew that I was artistic and that I liked to do art. So she knew this author who was looking for a child who did art to feature in her book. So Mary immediately thought of me, and she asked if I would provide some samples for this author to feature in her book, and I sent her some samples, and the next thing I know is my art is actually published in this author's book. And this woman, Mary, she believed in me, and she went through all of these hoops to get my art noticed and out there. And she was like, I know this girl who does art, and she'd be perfect for your book. And she didn't have to do that. Like, my wish was to go to Disney World, and next thing I know, this woman is promoting my art for a book. And of course, at 15, like, this was the first like anything like that's ever happened to me. I'd never had my work published anywhere. I'd never had it noticed by anyone besides some people on DeviantArt. Like, this was huge for me. And honestly, it motivated me and it inspired me. And there was this woman who believed in my art so much that she went out of her way to promote it to someone totally unrelated to me. And this woman isn't part of my family. She's not a friend. She is not someone that I already know who feels like obligated to do something for my art. She's this stranger who I've met only the past few months, and she believed so much in my art, and she wanted to see me flourish in it, and she wanted to promote it, and she wanted to inspire me, and she wanted to show me that there's someone out there who believed in my work. And as a young artist, that was life-changing for me. And honestly, this woman is and still is one of the most influential people in my life, because she taught me that I have this ability, that I have this art, I have this passion and spark inside of me, and maybe I can do something with it. Maybe it's not just a hobby. Maybe it's not just me doodling in a sketchbook. Maybe I have something here. And for a 15-year-old girl in high school, that is honestly a game changer. And I still remember that, and I still remember the feeling of walking up to meet the authors and holding up the book with my art in it. I still have the book. It's on my shelf, and it's one of my most prized possessions. They even gave me a little certificate that's like, congratulations on being published in this book. And it blows me away, because I didn't ask for any of that. That wasn't part of my wish, but this woman went out of her way to do something for me that wasn't even related to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And I wouldn't have gotten that opportunity if it wasn't for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, but it's still unrelated. It's still something totally separate. And I'm so thankful for her for doing that. I don't even know if I can express to her, like, in words, how much that really meant to me. Funnily enough, my Make-A-Wish story also doesn't stop there. I actually had someone else from the foundation reach out to me, because by now, I guess word had gotten around, but that I was the Wish kid that does the art, and they were having a silent auction to raise money for to raise money for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Sorry, getting my foundations mixed up. And they wanted to auction off some pieces of my art. So of course I jumped at the chance, because I get to draw art, and I get to raise money, and I get to kind of give back to the foundation that gave so much to me. Of course I will do it. And I poured my heart and soul into these two pieces. I will put a picture up right now. I was still 15 when I drew this, by the way, so it looks very different from my recent work, but I was so proud of this, and I put everything I had into this piece. And I was so happy to have it be auctioned off. A few weeks after the event, I heard back from the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and they said that both of my pieces actually raised over $500, which was amazing to me. And not only that, but the woman who bought my art said that she bought it for her daughter, who was, I think, 5 or 6. And she said that her daughter wanted to be an artist too. So she wanted to buy my art to hang in her bedroom. So not only did I get to raise money, but I also, like, hopefully got to inspire this little girl who also wanted to be an artist. And that was just so cool to me, and it made me feel so good inside. And then a few years later, they actually asked me to do the same thing, and this time they kind of made a bigger deal out of it. I got to auction off a few more pieces, which I will put up here right now. Sorry for the bad quality, by the way. But I actually got to auction off more pieces of art, and then I also got to present some framed pieces of my art to the mayor at the time, the mayor of Las Vegas, and one of the local radio station hosts, who both have done a lot of work for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And I got to, like, present them my art, and they had it, like, blown up and framed, and it was, like, really cool, and I got to dress up and be all fancy. And that was also really cool. I felt kind of special, and I almost felt like a celebrity. And, like, this is kind of funny, but this radio host, I actually listened to her morning show, like, every single morning, and she was, like, excited to meet me because I was, like, the artist of this painting that I gave her. And that was so cool and just so almost surreal to be treated, like, less like a kid and more like an artist, I guess, and, like, someone of kind of importance. And it was just, like, a really special night. Me and my mom got to dress up together, and we got to, like, eat this fancy dinner, and then I got to, like, go on stage and present my art, and it was just really cool. And of course, the whole thing was to raise more money for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, which is ultimately, like, the coolest thing, because I got to help out again with raising money for this charity, and it was just awesome. One more story about the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and then I'm done, I swear, guys. I actually was in high school at this, or later in my high school years at this time, and they offered me an internship to help at the Make-A-Wish Foundation office in Las Vegas. So I also got to spend some time in their, like, behind the scenes office. I did some graphic design stuff for them. I did some, like, general office work and organizing and filing and stuff. And that was awesome too, because I got to give back not only in a monetary way, but I got to donate some of my time. Of course, I couldn't meet the kids. You have to be 18 and, you know, not pass on bacteria to other people, which is something that I do because of my illness. But I've always thought about how cool it would be to volunteer and actually meet the kids and, like, talk about their wishes and stuff. So I don't know, maybe in a different timeline, but I was still able to help out and do some of the grunt work for them, and that was also really, really, really cool. So yeah, this video is already, like, super duper long. If you're still listening, thank you guys for listening to my very long-winded story about the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Yeah, it was just incredible, and I'm very, very thankful that I had the opportunity to get a wish. And I'm also thankful for my mom for knocking some sense into me. So I hope you guys enjoyed listening to my very rambly story. I hope you guys enjoyed this painting as well. Like I said, mixture of digital and traditional. I'm painting Rapunzel also as well because she's my favorite Disney princess, and I figured it would be fitting since I went to Disney World. But yeah, that's my story. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you have had any experience with the Make-A-Wish Foundation or someone you know. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm thankful for you guys too. And gosh, I kind of feel emotionally exhausted right now. Yeah, just going back on all those memories really took me to a place. So I think I'm going to have a good cry now. Maybe call my mom and tell her that I love her. and I will see you guys in my next video. I hope you have an amazing evening, and hug your loved ones and tell your parents that you love them. And yeah, that's it. All right, I'm gonna go now. Bye, guys.